In my opinion, one of the most interesting genres of games are the ones controlled by the player. Well, in a way. It's like the creator was like, fucking have some blocks of shit and bada bing, bada boom, there you go. When I say user-created games, or whatever the hell you call them, I'm referring to games that are mainly based on player-created content, or something like that. You know what I mean. Anyways, in this video I'll explain the different types of these user-based games in sections which include the overview, the rhythm, the normal, difficulty, and mods. I'd also like to mention in this video I will not be discussing skins for games because while obviously user-created, they don't really correlate with what I'm talking about. That might be for another time though, so who knows. Starting with the overview, let me explain what are user-created games exactly. Like I explained before, if you didn't already know, these are games where its main content / appeal is the fact that the player can make content for the game such as levels or missions, blah blah blah. You get the point. As I'll mention many times throughout this video, communities are a big part of these games. They definitely are for games such as these because, well, if there isn't really a community, then who's gonna make the content? Nobody really besides the devs. And if the devs make the levels, which of course works in pretty much a huge majority of games these days, it wouldn't really be a user-based content game, would it? The communities I'll mention from the games ahead are definitely important to them, so that's gonna be a key role in this video. Anyways, let's get started. So first, we have the rhythm section. Ah, yes, rhythm games. Games that let you escape to the world of music while also enjoying sweet melodic gameplay at the same time. I love them. I, for one, am a big fan of rhythm games. When talking about these types of games, there's a lot of things going on. Things like finding the song, timing notes, flowing gameplay. Yep, you get the gist. Everyone in every game of this caliber does their thing differently. But anyways, I digress. The first game I'll be going to in this category is Geometry Dash. Now hold on, before you motherfuckers comment, oh you dumbass, GD isn't a rhythm game, it's a rhythm-based platformer. What a crustacean, I did your mom last night. Shut up. Shut the fuck up, I know. Just let me explain, please. While GD isn't necessarily a rhythm game, considering you don't really have to sync up the music to make the game work well, I believe it still fits under this category. I think that because sync, of course, is an option, the game has huge music preference, and so on and so forth. Cry about it. To explain what Geometry Dash is a game where you have multiple vehicles used to get to the end of the level. The game's editor has a wide variety of obstacles and other objects people can put to try and stop you, such as spikes, blocks, monsters, and whatever the hell people can think of. Each vehicle can be switched to it if the person who made the level put a portal inside used to, well, switch to that vehicle. Each vehicle does something different, like how the UFO is basically Flappy Bird, the ship can go up and down in curved movements, the ball can switch gravity on every press, yada yada, etc, etc. Basically what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of shit in GD, which makes hundreds and thousands of levels different from the next, which makes it so entertaining. And yes, I know I could really be saying that for all these games, to be honest. Now let's move on to the community. The GD community is full of many types of things like criticism, level completions, content, hot takes, people's levels, basically a lot of things going on in the game. There's not much to say about it besides everyone thinks differently and is entitled to their own opinions about the game, like if this level needs sync or this gameplay is bad. No matter how stupid that opinion is. The next game I'd like to mention in this category is Osu. Osu is a rhythm game with 4 different modes. We have Osu Standard, which is where you aim your cursor to click circles in time to the beat, Taiko where you hit the circles in time to the beat in the Taiko no Tatsujin game fashion, Mania, which is where you hit the notes, of course derived from games like Step Mania and DDR, and finally Catch the Beat, which doesn't exist. I mean, where you move your character left and right to pick up the fruits and other objects falling from the sky. What makes Osu differ from GD and, well, pretty much any other rhythm game is that mappers, people who make the level / maps as they're called for people to play, are massively encouraged to make their maps on time with the music since it boosts the entire feeling of it being a rhythm game, whereas in GD you don't have to specifically stick with the music indirectly, even though it is favored by most. The editor for Osu is, well, it's complicated, just like the GD editor. See, there's many things that go into maps, such as timing being one of the most important things, patterns, and difficulty, which I'll get into later. It sounds simple being mainly those 3, but when you really go deep into it, it gets complicated. If you want an in-depth explanation on all of these things, I suggest watching a YouTuber known as PishyFat, which has tons and tons of videos going over these things in Osu Standard. Moving on to the community. The OC community is split into 4 sections in my mindset, which are playing, mapping, skinning, and storyboarding. I'll only be discussing playing and mapping for today. When talking about these two, while they are split, they both interact with each other massively. An example, I guess, is person A, a mapper, and person B, player, are having a discussion. Person A is making a map but doesn't know if it's good enough or if people like it. Person A sees this and, using his experience as a player and watching the game around others, explains to the mapper some tips like what they should do or what people like. Basically that sort of thing. And of course the other way around, being person B makes map and person A plays it. Self-explanatory. Like I mentioned earlier, everyone thinks differently about what's wrong and what's right, so the community is pretty diverse opinion-wise. Every player plays differently and every mapper maps differently. That was the rhythm section, and I'll be moving on to the normal section. When I say normal games, I mean games that have a basic system of user-based content. Yeah, I really couldn't think of any other way to name it. I literally wrote the show like Going on to the first game, I'll be talking about Mario Maker 2 and the first Mario Maker. It doesn't really matter. Mario Maker 2 is, well, just Mario, but people create the levels. Levels could go from music to enemy spam to just full-on bullshit. But whatever. The concept of the game is simple. People make levels and upload them to the servers, and then players play them. Simple. Mario Maker's editor is what you would expect. Things such as level types, enemies, blocks, etc, etc. Not really much to cover here. I don't necessarily know much about its main community, but, well, it's Mario. You make levels, some hard, some easy. Moving on to Minecraft, this is where things get interesting. Man, everyone knows Minecraft. You know, explore, dig, fight enemies, and build stuff. It's as simple as that. People have been making insane shit on Minecraft for years now. Things like roller coasters, massive builds, servers where all sorts of stuff happens. It's nice and invokes creativity in the hearts of many. Minecraft doesn't really have a community per se, it just has more of just many small communities doing their own things. Some like to fight all day and some like to just build cool shit. Who doesn't like that? I'll go into detail about Minecraft more later on though. For our next game, I'll be talking about Terraria. And no, it's not 2D fucking Minecraft. It's not. Anyways, Terraria in terms of user-based content is really on the same lines as Minecraft, except of course different items, weapons, different content really. There's not much to be said here that I didn't already say in the Minecraft section. I'll also be talking about this game again later. In this section, I'll be talking about the role of difficulty in these games. Now, of course, like in every game, difficulty and the liking of it is massively subjective. Maybe a community will prefer easy levels instead of the hard stuff, or maybe another will like the difficult stuff instead of the easy stuff. Or maybe, like most, the community will all have different preferences going on inside of it. Difficulty, while subjective, is important in these games though because of things like learning curves, improvement, and overall game enjoyment. I mean, if a game was the exact same super easy difficulty for a while, many would get bored. That's really why difficulty matters in my opinion. For the last section, I'll be talking about mods, and now this is where shit goes nuts. See, mods are user-created content cranked up to the max. They're basically players' ways of taking the vanilla or base part of a game and then adding on to it. When I think of mods, I think of Minecraft and Terraria, so let's go back to those for a second. Mods in these two games are very, very important to the games and their communities. The games can be already fun on their own, but people adding on new content all the time makes them have more playtime and enjoying experiences. Mods can really range from quality of life mods which help make the game more playable, content mods which add on to the game, skins and cosmetic mods which make the game look different. The list goes on and on and on. Shoot, some games that weren't even made for modding and modding communities, like even Battle Cats. Crazy, right? But anyways, to sum it up, user-based games are, in my opinion, really cool and puts an interesting take on the term power to the player. Hopefully more games like this will be made in the future. Seriously though, thanks for watching. I made this script at like 5 AM and I'm really tired. I haven't really made anything like this on the channel before, so please like and subscribe. You don't have to, but it would mean a lot to me. Links are always in the description, and see ya.